mostly because of Nish.
Not mostly, but definitely partially.
Mostly.
I actually feel kind of bad for Nish Kumar, but he did he did kind of fucking bring it on himself.
Let's go on stage, roll down there, and we're showing a bread roll back.
No, but it's the fact is, like, see for example, if I'm on stage, see for example, if I'm on stage and I tell a joke and you don't laugh, right? You didn't find the joke funny, that's fine. I'm just going to move on. What Nish did instead is basically went, oh, you didn't find it funny. Then the problem's with you. Right, and then he turned around and went, and he said the worst thing is if the audience didn't find the joke funny, then your joke wasn't funny. Just move on and tell more jokes and maybe you can win the audience back, just keep going. Don't start having a go at the audience for their taste in comedy. And one thing you definitely don't say is, well, this is what I should expect from a crowd of people whose ancestors probably colonised mine. Like, I can't handle cringe, and I watched it and went, is it really that bad? And then he said that, and I went, yes. That's bad. That's very, very bad. It's basically, I'm here to make you all laugh, so give me 2 seconds while I tell you all how awful you are, and how awful your history is, and that way you'll be on my side. Man, it was the worst thing you could possibly have done, and I cringed.
It was worse than that.
Before we start the second half, just a quick announcement. If you are taking only photos or you are filming tonight, don't film. I mean, this is content that he needs to put up on his channel, so I get paid. So, if you are filming or taking photos tonight, please. First row, you're very boisterous tonight. Please, do you have a bottle of champagne?
He works in the oil industry.
Front row, you're very boisterous tonight. Just please save it
for the Q&A.
Save it for the Q&A, please. If you're taking any photos or any videos tonight, please do not put up any photos of the crowd. There are people here who do not wish to be doxxed because they attend these fascist events. If you are concerned about that, just approach Johnny, who's already looking a bit soused there. The Asian guy here, he will take a photo of you ironically, and he will make sure that you do not appear in any
I'll delete you from the
yeah, you'll...
It's a sad state of affairs. Don't worry, I'll make sure my Batman is
I'm enjoying the fact that you just said that you would erase someone from existence. You're doing your country of China proud. The one was with the China apology.
Hey! Wait. Freedom!
Can we make fun of?
Do it to the death.
Seriously, I'm unironically about 100 comments in on this BBC article, and not one is supporting the BBC. Yeah. Like every single comment is, yeah, we should get rid of the BBC. I agree. I was agreeing, but that's my vote for Boris. Total lack of impartiality that the BBC shows, I would back it.
Carl. What about the Brompton industry?
No,
what about the Brompton industry?
I don't understand that means.
The Brompton.
The Brompton? Oh, I don't know.
Boris.
Sorry.
That was wasted.
That's wasted on me, man. I'm so sorry. I'm already drunk, you see.
So wasted. It's a shit bicycle with BBC twats.
This is just it needs to be done. The BBC is a national disgrace. I'm pro-EU, I'm previously pro-BBC, and even I can see how the poor election coverage has been. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, but at least you never got fired from the BBC because of the fucking Daily Mail calling you a fucking Nazi.
Are you calling it Alistair?
Yeah.
What? No.
At least Murdoch's even.
No, but that was the thing is, I literally had a job on a panel show on the BBC. And then I got fired.
Get a job, you
because the Daily Mail called me a Nazi. I mean, I've literally had the Daily Mail call me a Nazi. Get on my fucking level.
I got the same from Guido Fawkes.
That's still on
Whereas
video.
Guido Fawkes is like, oh, look at this bad man. I'm like, you're Guido fucking Fawkes, man. You're the lowest, scummiest outfit in the entire country.
Your show's
You're
still
on my
video.
side. You know? Come on.
That show's still on video somewhere. We should be able to buy it.
I've asked the producer and they said
I mean,
not
it's on
really
video
good.
somewhere. We can.
No, but I wish it was out there in public because basically
Let's buy it the fuck out of
it was basically they went, let's just get a bunch of SJW people. I mean, in one of the shows, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. This is genuinely it, right? There are 4 people on the show, and it changes every time. They like to mix up the cast. Across from me is a drag queen in like full drag, like a fucking wig the size of my village.
And there's
The
no
other
me too.
woman was a black woman from a feminist charity, and next to me was a white Scottish woman who was wearing a full burqa because she had converted to Islam. And I'm sitting, she was.
Every freaking time.
And I'm sitting there, fucking generic Mick White man. Like that man, and basically the thing was, I just went, I am going to annoy the fuck out of every single person here. And one of the other episodes which I really, really enjoyed was one of the people that was brought on was a Guardian writer. Which shows you how much she had to add to the series. But basically, she turned around to me, and it was just, I just really wish this moment was kept in because of how fucking angry it made her. She went, don't you care about what the effect that your jokes and your comments and your memes have on people like me?
No.
Not even the tiniest bit.
So
Not even the tiniest bit. How do you sleep at night with fucking lo-fi hip hop on in the background? I honestly don't give a shit. What did you see one of my jokes and get really angry? Well, see, in about 3 minutes, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be alright. You got a little bit upset, right? You know what? You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to go to your job tomorrow. You're going to be able to go out and do whatever the fuck you want. You were just a little bit annoyed. Me, on the other hand, I can't get a fucking job anywhere. I've got a fucking criminal fucking record and all that shit because I made you a little bit annoyed. You know what? I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, we should have just left the Jews alone.
What?
Should have just left the Jews alone.
Yeah,
You should have made rape jokes about politicians like I did. You'd have been just fine. No one's defending chestnuts, mate.
That's the thing that really annoys
it wasn't
me.
him, it was the dog.
I make a joke about like rape, like during a fucking comedy set. It was a comedy show. You literally in a video went, I'd probably rape chestnuts. And the media were angrier at me.
But there wasn't enough beer. I mean, there was
True story.
I don't know what to tell you.
The
The cops were like, yeah, get away with you, little scamp.
Who is the best? No one can argue that there's enough beer.
Here's an interesting thing. This is something you should all actually know about. It's quite educational. It's something you should know. It's in America they have something called the Brandenburg test, where whenever there is a incident where violent speech or incitement to violent speech was actually uttered, they actually do a test to assess the likelihood that it could happen. So, for example, someone receives a message that says, "I'm going to kill you," and the police would look into it and they realised that it was a message sent by a 12-year-old to another 12-year-old on Xbox Live due to a disagreement over a game of Call of Duty. That would fail the Brandenburg test because the police would go, yeah,
He's on a date with the guy's mum. He can't do it.
He's not actually going to murder the guy. It's Call of Duty. Who cares? That's fine. However, if the message "I'm going to kill you" was received by a woman from her ex-boyfriend who has a long and violent history, that is when the police would go, okay, there's actually a chance of that actually happening. We should investigate. The Brandenburg test was obviously applied in Sargon's case because the police reviewed it and went, there's no way anyone would rape that. I'm just.
You know she's going to be bitching about this in Parliament tomorrow. She keeps bringing me up, and I'm like, Jess, okay, look, you know, I'm just saying,
You're so sexy. Maybe someone should rape her.
Jesus God.
Are you volunteering? Serious question. Not Angela Merkel.
Yeah, this is coming
Do you actually really have a crush on Angela Merkel?
Hey man, you gotta spread the message of love.
Someone's got to take the blame, let's be honest.
Even if it's forced.
Merkel's clearly gone 50 years without getting laid. Someone's got to do it for us.
Doug, maybe I should volunteer. Take one for the team, Doug.
Thank you for your service, sir.
And on Friday, Jess Phillips is probably going to be the front runner in the Labour leadership election.
You know what? I vote Jess Phillips. Don't you all want to see Jess Phillips leading the Labour Party to absolute There's my girl, she can do it. She can really nail this into the ground.
Wait, you mean Corbyn, is it? I wouldn't even vote for it.
Which is basically the message the electorate was sending.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Right.
This.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, what is it?
Boris Johnson, net worth 2 million. Jeremy Corbyn, net worth 4 million.
What? Champagne
How is
socialist?
Boris
I'm just-
Johnson actually a worse capitalist than Jeremy Corbyn?
Fucking socialist dictator.
No,
Why are they all so bright? That's a real question.
I've got a good explanation for this. I actually know the source of all hatred for Jews. No, legit. Legit, it's real. Basically, under Christianity and Islam, money lending was banned.
Yeah.
But not under Judaism.
Yeah.
So Jews saw a niche market that only they could do, and like smart capitalists, they invested in this market. They ended up becoming very wealthy from all the interest they were making from lending money. The only problem was is every time they asked for the money back, as they were entitled to do, lots and lots of people started going, fucking Jews. And if you look in the history of people that have expelled Jews from country, it turns out the old Jews are off.
Yeah, let's start to move on.
All I'm saying is, right, despite Boris Johnson being a Tory, he owns 2 million. Jeremy Corbyn has a lot more money than fucking Boris Johnson.
Yeah, well that's ISIS for you.
I'm just wondering where that money came from
ISIS.
and why Jeremy Corbyn hates Jews. That's all I'm saying. Right? I'm not being anti-Semitic. Jeremy Corbyn is being anti-Semitic.
No dancing Israeli comments, please.
I never said anything about Israel.
Who else is going to defend
Israel, the Guardian journalist.
You've outed yourself, sir.
I'm just saying, right?
I'm actually genuinely disappointed in Boris, though. If even Comrade Corbyn is being, I mean, I thought you went to Eton, Boris. I thought you were about corruption and all this sort of thing. It's like, come on, you're worth 2 million.
Was he from rich family though?
That's weak, man. Don't let Corbyn beat you.
Who are you voting for, Carl? Who are you voting for? To be fair, the real question is why are they both so poor?
I'm going to have to vote for Boris because what choice we have.
Yeah.
You know, what am I going to do? Vote with death? Jesus.
No.
I kill myself. Jesus.
Nah.
I live in Theresa May's district.
That must hurt as well. Like literally, you've got like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Shit. what a fucking choice, man. I'd move. You know what I mean? the great thing is, I'm not actually in Swindon now. I'm in North Wiltshire because the Swindon Tory MPs, they're both Tories because Swindon is a Tory area, but not because they like the Tories, but because they just kind of hate everyone. They hate. Anyone comes on and says, I have an idea. And they're like, yeah, you're a prick. Shut up. I don't trust you. Anyone with ideas is someone I don't trust. Which is why I'm not popular in Swindon. But the thing is, like, the alternative is obviously someone, total cancer. But the North Wiltshire MP, man, he is the most red-pilled, he's like a red-pilled boomer. He's like one of those, yes, but he's probably an Alex Jones viewer. He's like, yeah, it's the Freemasons, and the Nazis, EU. It's Germany by other means. I'm like, go on. You have my attention. run for office, like, I don't think I should, you know, this guy's pretty good. And that's probably him deselected now, so I'm sorry.
Don't forget the globalists.
So what month were we on?
Oh god, we were doing the months. We were on September.
September.
Yeah, cool.
So, Tommy getting released from prison.
Yay!
I love the picture of Tommy unshaved and like his hair not cut. He literally looked like a weed dealer.
He literally looked like a fucking converted jihadist. This is the only time the left has ever been able to meme. And it's when Tommy comes out of prison and he looks like he's converted to Islam.
That's the thing. See the day that Tommy Robinson gets converted to Islam, that is when you know that Western civilization is falling. It's truly the end.
But the thing I loved about it most is it made them sound like, yeah, maybe the jihadis are a problem. Maybe, just maybe.
I didn't say that. You said that.
That's what they said. Okay, so I'm actually really getting sick of David Merritt, who's the father of the murdered Jack Merritt. Dude, your son's body is not a platform on which you can stand to say that Boris Johnson is evil. Like, dude, you're acting like you don't even care your son's dead. Like, honestly, and I'm saying this as a father, like, it's the worst thing in the world, watching this guy going, yeah, Jack, my son would have said, Boris Johnson's an evil Tory, don't vote for him. It's like, dude, your son was murdered by a jihadi, and you're like, yeah, I'm for the underdog. Yeah, they are underdogs, I agree, but you don't have to be for them in every circumstance.
I'm actually very unfamiliar with this. I mean, this is a London Bridge attack.
Yes.
And the guy's
father is on Twitter.
The guy's blaming the Tories for his son being murdered. Is he Scottish?
No.
No, he's a Remainer. Worse.
But in fairness, there's a slight possibility he might have changed his mind after the first stab.
Disavow.
The Guardian journalist or the BuzzFeed journalist in this, please don't write about this.
BuzzFeed doesn't even relevant anymore.
I am willing to dox this gentleman in the front.
He's very rich. Let me give you my address in Singapore.
How many people still work at BuzzFeed? Like 4?
Mark Stefano could be here tonight.
I've got a wonderful story about Mark.
By the way, everybody, welcome to my 40th birthday
just
party.
put your hand up, right? Mark DiStefano was, he's in my Discord, and he was Mark 1988. And I know that he was Mark 1988 because I got one of my friends to start messaging him on Twitter, and he sent him his thing, so we changed it to Mark 1488. And then but we started feeding him false information that I'm going to be running against Jess Phillips and Birmingham Yardley. And he actually put out a tweet about this saying, oh, the lads didn't think they'd get their deposits back. It's like, that's the reason why. I'll probably do a video because I've got all the screenshots. Where my friend, I'm not gonna say who the friend is. He's just feeding all this information, and it's just us in the Discord going, this is gonna be great. He's never gonna buy this. Hook, line, and sinker. The guy, he's like a thirsty ex. Go on, tell me more. Christ, man, we can't make it up this quickly, can't we? We can't plan this out.
Mark DiStefano is also the reason I'm demonetized on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was him that did it. He basically went, do you know that Count Dankula spoke to Tommy Robinson? And basically YouTube had an absolute fucking shit fit and demonetised literally everything I've ever made since the beginning of time. I even tested this. I even literally filmed a video of just my dogs playing. Like, just my dogs playing with a toy.
You're Nazi fucking dogs, that's what
okay. I understand.
YouTube remembers.
I understand that I was filming literally Hitler. Playing with a little toy, and you know what, yeah, fine, I deserve it.
So if Mark DiStefano is in the house tonight, or any colleagues of Mark, please put up your hand. And this gentleman in the beige jacket who's drinking out of a bottle of champagne, who's been interjecting all night, he'd love to talk to you.
This man's my lawyer, I'd like him to...
Those are some nice gold trainers, by the way.
Cold trainers. Fucking hell.
So
He's also wearing gold trainers.
was it September or August?
It feels like a slight box.
What else happened in September?
Not much. I mean, you interviewed the guys in Birmingham.
Oh yeah. That was fun. Man, I tell you, Birmingham is genuinely a terrifying place. No, seriously, John, you were there. John, where's John? Dude, when we were driving through Birmingham, how fucking scary was it?
Well, it's alright, but
Yeah, but you saw
not in my car.
They're literally, right, they're a gang of Muslim men just standing close and watching us as we're going by. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You know,
Yeah,
what do they want?
So I'm from Oldham.
Yeah.
Right? It's very similar there as well, right? I think the tensions there is there's a lot of parallels to be held there as well.
Right?
And
It's noticeable though. It's like genuinely noticeable.
Did you see any Arabic road signs?
The worst part is, I was totally on their side when it came to the no outside and stuff. Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't be teaching our 4-year-olds to masturbate. I'm totally on board with the Muslims. All I'm saying is, when it comes down to the final accounting, and on one side we have Islam is the right and true thing, or teaching children to wank, I'm with Islam. I'm genuinely with Islam. Like 100%. You know, a lot of Akbar, you know what I mean?
This is one thing that I want to make clear as well. I know
So why
that,
you give me the look? You
I
know?
know that a lot of you probably follow me on Twitter and like sort of follow all the stuff I'm into. Everybody knows that I enjoy banging traps while they call me daddy. Everybody
I've got
knows
your
that.
wife on Facebook.
She knows. Everybody knows that I think Footaboo is one of the greatest animes never made. Anyone that didn't laugh at that joke, go home and Google it. You have a fucking great time. And everybody knows that I think that hentai should be mandatory. It's the only. It's the only area that I'm not, you know,
Islam
vegetarian
did
in.
nothing wrong.
But see when it comes to it, but see when it comes.
Islam is right about just for that.
Picture some of that shit that I'm interested in and some of the shit that I do, right? This is coming from me. Teaching toddlers sexual education and doing drag story time is utter fucking degeneracy. Right? Just keep sex away from children in its entirety.
The thing
Shocking. One might call it empty-handed.
And that's a controversial opinion to have.
It's even in the way we define what a child is. A child is a non-sexual being before they hit puberty, before they end up becoming an adult. Like, it's
Well-
the definition. And they're like, yeah, but we could teach them to wank, couldn't we? It's like,
Yeah.
no!
But-
Like, why are we having this conversation? How has it got this far, you know?
To be fair, if they could make trainers.
Oh, God. What exactly is your life, sir? Not all the way to Aberdeen, though, to be honest.
As long as they're not getting as long as they're not getting horned on
That is how far things have come, and it really actually kind of concerns me.
I think it's terrible that
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't know why we're even having this conversation. And I honestly, I put it down to the Conservatives because, like, unbelievably, all of this is happening under the Conservatives' watch. And you'd think the Conservatives were like, yeah, maybe we don't need to sexualise children. But instead, they're like, not doing that. It's like, look, why is this so difficult? Why am I the far-right guy who doesn't want to teach kids how to masturbate? Like, why is that the far-right position these days? Like, come on. Like, I'm not very progressive, I'll admit, but like, that's just too far, isn't it?
no one can fire me. Have they gone soft?
Gone soft, man, they don't even exist. Like, one thing that cracks me up is like, oh, Boris is far-right. It's like, I don't even know what far is supposed to be, but Boris is a progressive, okay? Come on.
My right nut is far right compared to my left one, right? At least hentai is a good gateway.
If I see that
Hentai is a gateway drug to fascism.
You guys, here.
I just want to turn Britain into a gay fascist anime, right? I just want to
you guys long time though.
mandatorily give everyone a trap cat girl. right?
It's talking about Elon Musk.
The ones who clap
I actually
get
love
my
Elon
generous. Congratulations. Have you ever fucked a trap?
No.
Fuck off.
I'm not gay.
It's not gay though.
Yeah, but it kind of is.
Okay.
If
I want
Trump's
you to picture this.
What was his name?
I'm not picturing fucking a gay man.
What?
What was his name? Say it.
Yeah, but you felt
Say it,
it.
say it.
No.
he's got his
just want to
pronouns
think something
right.
right.
Owen Jones!
Fucking a woman's pretty man.
Oh, Joe.
Okay, I'm sorry. Moment of silence, folks. For those brave heroes who saw Owen Jones on the street and thought,
Smash the
fuck it,
fuck
let's
out
get him.
I'm surprised it wasn't that.
I'm still gonna call Michael out on his point, right? Fucking a woman. It's pretty fucking manly, isn't it?
That's kind of gay.
Most people would imagine so, yeah.
Yes, okay then.
Is this where you're going to say
Picture that
fucking a
woman.
man is even more
Now
manly?
picture that woman was actually a man, right? But he's wearing
Pretty gay.
that. But you've made that man wear a
Pretty gay.
dress and shut your fucking face, you proddy,
Pretty
right?
gay. If you feel fucked, this does not go down.
I'm not in Scotland, it's not a thing.
That's got all kinds of.
Hi, why don't you go home?
Let's test that First Amendment.
It's over, why don't you go home? Still pretty gay.
Chucky all wow.
Chucky,
Still pretty gay.
our time will come.
Take
Our
the
time will
Michael.
come.
Can we go on to
But anyway, I'm just
Can we
saying,
go to October?
fucking a woman's pretty manly.
I'll
Right?
let Belfast in there.
But if you make a man dress like a
Chucky
woman,
O'Lara,
and you fuck him, and he's done that for your enjoyment, that's really fucking manly.
It just sounds like
You've made another man your bitch, literally.
no matter how hard
I've
you
never
press
felt like
this,
more of a Chad in my entire life.
well, when you were fucking another man.
But up here he's a woman.
Well, check
Like,
that.
if he looked like a man, I wouldn't have fucked him because that's gay. But he looked like a woman, in my mind he's a woman, I fucked a woman, I'm straight, I'm a Chad.
I can't wait till your book comes out. To be honest.
Hey,
Fucking a man, the Trap Chronicles.
what if he identified as an attack helicopter?
I'm gonna fuck him.
I have absolutely no judgment at all.
See whoever I'm fucking, I don't care what they think. Only pussies do that.
Great concert.
Oh, you're in so much trouble. Your wife hears about this.
Oh, no, I don't even have to do anything to
Yeah,
make
no,
that
okay, so
fucking
I went to
They
Dank's
don't pay
wedding,
for me
right?
and Dank's
And one
fucking
thing I
legal
learned
costs.
very, very quickly is that Dank's wife clearly has the whip hand over Dank, right?
She has the means of production. She has the means of production. She's got access to
I'm not saying that to put him down. My wife has the whip hand over me, right? It's just British women tend to have their ways.
British.
Yeah. The Welsh women have the whip hand over the Welsh men.
My wife's,
Of course they do.
my wife's Irish.
That's even worse. So she bursts into the bedroom and is like, "Where's my potato?" It's wonderful, I swear.
The English took them.
I like where this is going.
I told you.
You missed my point. I said
Sorry.
she's got the means of production because she's the one with the tablet.
At this point, we're going to move on to October, and I believe you have a special guest. At this point, well, I have to stress, front row, you are very boisterous, but time
He needs you.
time is running against us.
I'm enjoying it.
Time is running against us, so we want to move on, finish off this so that we can actually open it up to the wider audience, front row excluded.
Wider audience? That's all I've heard from. Sorry, carry on.
Do you want to talk about your US college tour?
Oh, right, yeah, the US college tour, that was fun. There was a genuinely amazing point on the US college tour, and this was where I understood that why the Scots get away with so much.
Awesome accent.
Ginger privilege!
Now, you're in Blackford, aren't you?
Oh,
Again,
He's not Scottish.
reason number 2 is like the Scots are like, you know what, we don't want independence anymore. Right? He's an insufferable prat, right? But one thing that they do is say, Scotland.
now you tell me I can
They say Scot. They're like, oh. And so I'm in America, and in America, none of the sort of, I guess we'll call them like identity conflicts that they have, that we have here, matter in America. They don't really understand them at all, right? And so, me and Hunter Avalon are in Pennsylvania State University.
I've hot my head off this. I swear to God, I've hot my head off this like 30 times. Fucking right. Continue, Englishman.
Thank you. As long as you're not going to continue hurting yourself, Scotsman.
Low fucking blow.
Thank you. So I'm in Pennsylvania State University, and me and Hunter Avalon, he was this young YouTube guy. He's got his, his missus and his kid there. He's a nice kid, and we're talking to the audience, and then these 2 black girls come up, and you know what you're thinking, right? It's like, shit, here come the identity politics. This is where it begins. And I'm looking at Hunter, and he's looking nervous. And I'm like, don't worry, man, I've got this. And they come and go, we're black. This. And yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. But they're like, you made jokes about lynching, which we hadn't actually done. Like, of all the things we've joked about, lynching actually wasn't one. But the thing is, they were like, yeah, so we're black, and what do you have to say? I'm like, well, I'm English. And they were like, oh, God. I was just like, that actually means something over here. That, like, they don't even know how to deal with that. Because usually they used to say, I'm white. And I'm like, no. I'm not white, because that would put me in the same category as the Germans and the Scots, right?
It's literally the only victim fucking thing that we have. Whenever I get someone in Twitter going, do you know what it's like to be colonised by whites? Yeah. Do you know what it's like to be sold into slavery? Yeah. Do you know what it's like to have your culture destroyed? Yes! I am literally unfucking touchable. We had a religion, we had a language, we had everything. We had oil, and you wouldn't even let us have that. We had that fucking tennis player that nobody cares about. And you took him as well. Whenever he wins, he's British. Whenever he loses, he's Scottish.
Point of personal privilege for players.
With the losers.
All I'm saying, right, is what the English are to Scottish people is what the Jews are to the alt-right.
Yeah!
I was thinking you loads of money, isn't it? It's weird.
It's because you're from the fucking warm
sneaky, manipulative Anglos, controlling the world banks.
We're blue. They don't like it.
But the point is, this lady, her face was amazing, right? Because she suddenly backed up and said, oh God, someone's presenting me with something. She obviously didn't expect this at all. So I didn't say I'm white. So she was just taken aback. And I said, yeah, my family, my ancestry is very lower class, I'm not from the upper classes or anything like that. And so after I essentially explained, look, black people are not the only people in history to have been lynched. This is something that the rich English used to do to the poor English when they thought, they were getting out of line or taking their money or speaking out of turn. And she went away remarkably happy with this. She was like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And I was like, okay. like normally, when someone, you're English, like, you're racist, No, but instead she was thrilled with this. And her and her mate were completely happy with what happened. And Hunter just looked at me and go, good job. Thanks very much, Thankfully, there are no Scots in the audience.
It's just one.
Or Irish.
We went at the oppression Olympics. That's right.
I could actually, I could put an extra dimension and say it was the Normans that oppressed me.
Yes.
What then?
You continue then?
fans. They're not.
It's sort of like, oh, that was the last manager.
That's actually exactly what
I'm hip and cool, but I'm going to do all of the exact same shit.
I'm going to watch them do it and say, well, it's not us, but I don't disapprove.
York.
So, people in Scotland, I think, don't understand just how much trouble the Scots have caused the English in history.
Then leave us alone.
No. We would have loved
fucking our
to,
shit.
but there were so many slave raids into England. For example, did you know that during the English...
I'm just saying.
now, I'm just saying. Just like during the English Civil War, the Scots conquered down all the way to York and held up until York during the English Civil War. So what are you doing there?
You should have been standing.
Oh, you got what about in the 15th century when you came down this giant slave taking raid? We took loads of English slaves back to Scotland. Oh, we got nothing to say about that,
You know what?
The Scots weren't just the victims of the English, were they?
But you did it to us, so...
Oh, here we go. Why did we?
You took our people, we're going to take some of yours.
But the very reason the English are even in Britain is because the Britons were like, shit, the Scots are invading. Someone come and save us, and the heroic English leapt to their defence.
Well, all I'm saying is the Romans built a wall when it came to us.
Have you never played musical
You got
chairs?
cocked by a bunch of bisexual Italians.
Go on.
You got cocked by the Romans?
I'm interested. No, we weren't here. We came after the Romans. Just like you came after the Romans.
That's all we are on.
No, we didn't. The Gaels came from Central Europe and had sex with the Picts and created us.
Didn't you guys genocide the pigs?
No. We fucked them.
Hey.
We bred them out. It's different.
One might call that ethnic cleansing.
Some of us are still alive.
One might call that ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, but some
There are
people
no
say
more-
the same thing about Islam, so
Hey,
not allowed to talk about white replacement.
Alan was saying we need to go on to October.
I didn't say anything. You can't get mad at me.
Go on from the fucking north.
Okay, are we on October?
But I like the fact that when the Scots get guilty, now we're changing the subject.
Still your fault.
Yeah, we need to move on to October, and joining us will be Richard Braine for I really hate to put a sort of time constraint on this, but we are running a bit against time. We still have to do November in Poland, plus the Q&A, which I know most of you will have come for. So if we could keep things relatively brief, and please, front row, contain yourself.
Shut the fuck up!
Yeah, you. So for everyone listening, Richard Braine was the elected leader of UKIP in an absolute landslide. In a competition between four people, Richard got 53% of the vote. And he was genuinely second to best, after Jared Batten, UKIP leader that I had seen. So, Richard, how you doing, man?
Thank you very well. It's very good to see you again, Carl.
You too.
Always a pleasure to see Carl. I love Carl. He's fantastic. He talks about everything. He doesn't allow people to get in the way of the truth. He's prepared to talk about it, and I respect that enormously. And that's what we all need to do, is make sure that we tell the truth, and that we make sure that we're not bullied into not saying what we think. That's the most important thing.
I think the first time I probably met Richard is after the UKIP press conference, and he came up to me and said, you know what, I love what you did with the media, and I was like, thank you very much.
It was an inspiration, and I mean, Dankula was an inspiration too. They stood there and they just ripped a new one for the press. They were all looking, they go, what is going on here? You know, this is surreal, and it was surreal. It was fantastic, and it really rekindled my my belief in what UKIP was doing then, and what Gerard was doing, which is, making sure that we were a party in the UK that was prepared to talk about the things that other people weren't prepared to talk about. And that's something admirable, and we've got to keep doing it. I'm no longer in UKIP, and that's a long and complicated story, but...
you've got to hold it a bit closer, sorry.
Okay.
Since you mentioned you're no longer in UKIP, what new party are you and Gerard starting?
There's no party at the moment. I am partyless. I am stateless. I am seeking asylum. I'm looking at Scotland. It looks like Scotland's a good place to seek asylum. The only problem in Scotland is, of course, the Scots are always, fighting, knocking chunks off each other. The Scots are always knocking chunks off each other. That's the first problem. Is how you stop the McDonald's and all the tribes having a go at each other. But
the McDonald's and the Burger King.
That's it.
KFC's, yeah.
Dan, what clan are you from?
Yes, the Black clan.
Galway.
Okay. No. So what's the sort of the narrative of the Galway clan?
Irish. We married.
It sounds it, doesn't it?
Yeah. We married into the Galloway clan. We were actually originally from Leitrim in Ireland. That's where our clan is from.
Oh, are you? That's right, because I'm originally from Germany. We both ended up in Britain, right?
Well, basically, we were originally in Leitrim in Ireland, and we married into the Galloway clan, and then we were essentially used as human shields. During there was, but we were human shields that lived because we were hard bastards. we got given land in Lanarkshire, which is why all the Meekins are all in Lanarkshire. So there we go. Yeah.
When I look at Carla, I find the story of the Roman 7th Legion is no longer a mystery. They marched north from Hadrian's Wall, and not a trace of them was ever found again. They didn't find even a little tassel of leather left. It was just nothing. A whole legion of Roman soldiers. I think it's the only time it happened in the whole history of the Roman conquests. Was this legion marched north and they were just gone. That's it. And it was Carl's people that did that. I think they ate the spears and the shields.
Fucking hedgehogs.
Get off my property,
So what's next then, Richard? Because I think though Kirsten may have sabotaged everyone's efforts in UKIP, which is a real shame, because a lot of myself, and honestly, let me give it up for Callum and Johnny, and less so for Michael. On the campaign trail, we really hammered it. We really went hell for leather. And the thing is, we really enjoyed the campaign. One of the best bits about it were drawing out the communists to come and tell us how evil we were, so we could, and the thing is, on every single thing, whenever they came out, we held the field at the end. They're the ones who left first. We didn't leave first. They always retreated first. And we kind of want the opportunity again. What are we doing next? Because we're with you.
I really hope that somehow, UKIP will rise again like a phoenix out of the ashes. Lots of changes need to happen in the party if that's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, there will need to be another party in this country for people who are prepared to speak their minds, even when it can get you in a lot of trouble. I mean, Carl is a great instance of that. Having a laugh, ended up with a court case, and ended up in trouble. And I hope that it can be resuscitated. But if it isn't, I'm certain there's going to be another party to fill that space. So watch what happens in UKIP. I hope that there's going to be a bit of a change of the guard in UKIP, and I hope that will fix the problem, and people can come back to the party and know that it will speak out and speak the uncomfortable truths that the establishment doesn't want to hear, and that's very important.
Right, so when Dankula look, I'm thinking about saying, if I get 1,000 retweets, I'll join UKIP. I was only 10,000 retweets. You join UKIP. But I was kind of down for it, because UKIP at the time, no one was talking about them. I was like, I can't ever think of why I dislike UKIP. I've always kind of liked Farage, I've always liked the kind of Robin Hood mythology that's kind of surrounded UKIP, and there's really something to it. And recently, actually, I'm working on a big sort of side project that I'm not going to reveal yet. Scott, are you here, man? Hello. Yeah. But we've been going through all of the original myths of Robin Hood, man, and everything about it. It's like, shit, this is UKIP. Like, this is an old part of the country. No, there is an old part to this thing. And the best bit is, it's all shitlording. Like they're always having fun at the sheriff's expense, you know what I mean? And so I think there's always going to be a place for a party that is kind of like, fuck them all, you know what I mean? It really is.
I've said this before, but the tradition goes back. I mean, in my childhood, it was the punk rockers. And, some of you will know that Johnny Rotten, in an interview, talked about Jimmy Savile.
Yes! Many times!
And his excesses when it was totally unacceptable to do so. But this goes back thousands of years, speaking the uncomfortable truth.
Oh, yeah.
And Diogenes Laertes, who was one of the one of the Cynic philosophers, he lived in a barrel. And he had a long beard, and he didn't wear any clothes, and he would certainly have been Dankula's mate. If Dankula had been in Athens in 300 years BC or whatever it was, he would have been one of Diogenes' right-hand men. And the story goes that Diogenes was sitting there ranting, probably in a Scottish accent, and Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great came up, and he was pleased by, he was impressed, by the size of his balls and all that. And he said, "I'm Alexander the Great," because they didn't have photography back then, so it was much harder to recognise people. And he said, "I'm Alexander the Great, leader of the known world, and you've pleased me. I grant you a wish." And Diogenes said to him, "Could you move to the left a little bit, because you're getting in the way of the sunshine, and I'm just doing a bit of tanning, so just move over a bit." But it's that attitude, the attitude of rebellion, not being taken in by the establishment, standing up to the establishment. I'm certain everybody here understands how important that is as a philosophy, a political philosophy, and we need to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Another quote attributed to Diogenes, which is one of my favourites, is, "In a rich man's house, there is nowhere to spit but in his face."
And this is why Alexander said, if I wasn't Alexander, I'd be Diogenes. But the thing is, right, there is a genuinely long history of this kind of resistance in England and Scotland. There really is this kind of long disrespect for authority. And this is one of the things that me and Scott have discovered reading, and these are genuinely ancient ballads that we're reading. These are like 800, 900-year-old ballads, where, it is genuinely shitlordy stuff, where they're constantly taking the piss out of the sheriff and the bishops and everyone else, and it's part of the British character. It's really something that's deep down in there. And it's something that is important, and I think that we do have to carry that on. And I think if we don't carry that on, then who's going to do it?
Yeah.
I really think it's up to us. But I hear that we have to wind up and take questions. So
last thing, and then questions. And then,
yeah.
Okay, so Poland trip, basically.
Yeah, Poland was, it was very interesting, it was very Polish. I'd never had Thai food cooked by a Polish person before, and it kind of blew out the multicultural thing. Well, if we don't have immigrants come, who's going to cook the food? Well, apparently Polish people are. I'm just saying. But no, it was very nice, and Poland, was it Krakow or Warsaw? Warsaw. Very, very empty, actually. One of the weird things about it is, because you come to London, and obviously the streets are always packed with people all the time. But in Warsaw, it's surprisingly empty and very...
It's because they're all here.
Yes! That's true. That's genuinely true.
I was joking, man.
Dude, they're missing like a generation of young people, because they're all here. And you know, it's genuinely true. It's a genuinely true thing. But it does feel very post-Soviet. It's depressing in a way that, like, it's giant grey buildings that are sad, and like, it's thinking, Christ, man, these people need a bit of freedom. They definitely do.
There's a story I read in the papers about 3 or 4 years ago, and you know, if you're British and someone says, you know, how are you? You say, well, I mustn't grumble. You know, you don't want to be too positive. It's important that you express a downtroddenness. It's the weather. You know, the weather's shit, so you've got to express it. And there were these three, and look this story up, because I promise you this is real. It was in the paper, well, it was in the paper, so it may not be real.
Probably not, yeah.
But it was in the papers that three Polish, I think essentially lumberjacks, were in a hut somewhere in the woods, somewhere in Poland, having a break from chopping down trees. And they started to argue